Hello, Professor. Our topic is the case of Laurie Honking worked in TaskTF. Our group has 4 members: Li Jia, Pei Chong, Jian Mei, and Junhui. This is the overview of our presentation. We have 4 parts. Part 1, introduction of the case of Laurie Honking. Part 2, 3 key issues raised by this case. Part 3, human resource management theory and employment relationship and relevant regulations. And Part 4, summary of this topic and conclusion. Let's go to Part 1, introduction. On 25 February 2016, the Commission received a complaint on behalf of an anonymous third party about TaskTF. Laurie Honking, Deputy Chief Executive Officer and Chief Operating Officer of TaskTF, was accused that she was recruited to TaskTF and subsequently promoted as a result of her association with Stephen Conway. The association between Ms. Honking and Mr. Conway relates to their roles in Vet Network Australia, a membership association involved in professional development of secondary school teachers and administration staff. The Integrity Commission's report also found that Chief Executive Mr. Conway increased the Deputy Chief Executive Ms. Honking's salary without the approval of the head of the State Service, created a position for her. The investigation found that Mr. Conway's incentive payment scheme involved the authorization of Ms. Honking's private use of her Tasmania government card. Laurie Honking has misused her Tasmania government card. In addition, in 2016, Mr. Conway and Ms. Honking provided a project kit to their friends without testing the market. Additionally, in 2016, Ms. Honking provided the associated statement of a position of TaskTF to her friend and helped him to get a position. This is the Part 1 and Part 2, key issue raised by the case, which will be presented by Li Jia.
The first key issue is Stephen Conway acted with favoritism in relation to the recruitment and subsequent promotion of Ms. Laurie Honking. Mr. Conway and Ms. Honking are close friends who previously worked together at Vet Network Australia and currently employed at TaskTF. Since applying for the position of division manager at TaskTF in May 2015, Ms. Honking has been the beneficiary of a number of promotions and salary increase. The position Ms. Honking applied for in May 2015 had a starting salary of $121,318 by later February 2016. Approximately 7 months into her appointment, Ms. Honking's salary was $145,535, a direct result of actions taken by Mr. Conway. Shortly after, Ms. Honking was promised an SES for a position by Ms. Conway, which at the time had a basic salary of $207,933. The investigation of Integrity Commission has identified no other officer of TaskTF who have received the same or similar treatment. This issue is supported by evidence which shows that Mr. Conway failed to declare and manage his conflicts of interest, and on the basis of that conflict, improperly used his position to secure a range of pecuniary benefits to Ms. Honking, many of which Ms. Conway had no authority to offer. The second key issue is Stephen Covey improperly facilitates the position of incentive payments to Lori Hawking in excess of the entitlements specified in her instrument of appointment. In addition to the provision of regular salary increase, Mr. Covey has made a fraud raft of financial commitment to Ms. Hawking in excess of the term of her instrument of appointment, and in excess of what Ms. Covey is authorized to offer. Mr. Covey described those as incentive payments and included the payment for Ms. Hawking and her family to visit Tasmania before she conversed with Tuskegee, the payment of return airfares between Hobart and Adelaide for Miss Hawking to visit her family, the payment of Miss Hawking's rent, and $3,000 paid to Miss Hawking on each anniversary of her appointment. Approximately $13,000 has been allocated for those payments to Miss Hawking. No other officer of Tuskegee has received those benefits. The investigation of Integrity Commission found this issue to be supported by evidence demonstrating Mr. Conway's improper use of his position to provide Ms. Hawking with a significant range of financial benefits. The benefits provided to Ms. Hawking exceed those which Mr. Conway could legitimately have offered, and evidence Mr. Conway's focus on advantage Ms. Hawking without consideration of the needs of or financial impact to Tuskegee. The last issue raised on this case is Lori Hawking has misused her Tasmania Government Card, TGC. Use of a Tasmania Government Card is governed by the Treasurer Instructions, which outline the types of transactions which are to be made use a TGC and those which are not. Amongst the latter include purchases for entertainment, fuel, and personal goods and service. For approximately 10 months, Ms. Hawking made regular use of her TGC for entertainment purchases. Some of those purchases were examined in the investigation, and a number of additional instances of purchases for fuel were also noted. Given that this issue related to misuse of a TGC for personal purpose, which was then incorrectly recorded in the relevant financial system, the Commission sought advice from Tasmania Policy and the Director of Public Prosecutions as to whether a charge of funds should be considered. Ultimately, the Commission determined to retain this issue in the misconduct context. Ms. Conway's commitment to pay for Ms. Hawkins' flight between Hobart and Adelaide once per month has involved Ms. Hawkins use her TGC for pay for those personal flights as well. The investigation found that Mr. Conway's incentive payment scheme involved the authorization of Ms. Hawkins' private use of her TGC. Now let's come to part 3. The human resources management and employment relations with the case. So first, what is human resources management? Here's a policy-based view. Human resources management comprises a set of policies designed to maximize organizational integration, employee commitment, flexibility, and quality of work. Here's another general management view. That is, all those activities associated with the management of work and people in organizations. To To be more specific, let's have a look at some wider theories regarding human resources management. So, what are successful human resources management? There are four measures about successful management. The first one is management as science. Successful managers are those who have learned the appropriate body of knowledge, skills, and competence. The second one is management as politics. Successful managers are those who can work out and cope with unwritten laws in the organization. The third one is management as practice, who can work out and cope with contradictory demands and pressures. But last but not least, successful managers are those who can exploit and control workers. Now let's focus on the second measurement. TASTAFE as a public service sector should comply with a series of relevant policies, including State Service Act and State Service Regulations, the Treasurer's instructions, the employment directions, and the ministerial directions. We've already figured out the three key issues in the case, but what act and regulations did they violate? The first one is the State Service and Regulations, which stipulates that an employee must behave honestly and with integrity in the course of state service employment, and an employee also must act with care and diligence in the course of state service employment. He or she should also disclose and take reasonable steps to avoid any conflict of interest in connection with employee state service employment. He or she must use Tasmanian government resources in a proper manner, but not those irrelevant activities. And he or she must not knowingly provide false or misleading information in connection with employee state service employment. An employee must also make improper use information gained in the course of his or her employment or the employee's duties, status, power, or authority in order to gain or seek to gain a gift, benefit, or advantage for the employee or for any other person. And also, an employee will say when they act in the course of the state service employment, they must behave in a way that upholds the state service principles, and they should comply with any other conduct requirement that is prescribed by the regulations. The State Service Act and regulations also stipulate that the state service is a public service in which employment decisions should be based on merit. It also plans for and promotes effective performance management in which heads of agencies, officers, and employees are accountable for the performance of their functions and exercise of their powers. It also should promote equality in employment. We know that TASTAFE as an agency should provide a reasonable opportunity to members of the community to apply for, and also for the purpose of subsection 1b, a decision relating to appointment or promotion should be based on merit. The second one is the ministerial and employment directions that TASTAFE should comply with, which requires a head of agency to put in place measures in the agency directed at ensuring that where an employment decision is made relating to appointment or promotion of a person in the agency, they should bear in mind that the selection process is determined in advance and information about the process is readily available. And second is selection process is transparent and is to be applied equally and fairly in relation to each eligible applicant. And now my partner will give us a more specific analysis.
Now we will apply relevant theories of human resource management and employment relation to this case. The first issue is Stephen Conway acted with favoritism in relation to the recruitment and subsequent promotion of Ms. Lori Hawkins. He had a conflict of interest arising from his association and his close friendship with Ms. Hawkins. He failed to properly declare and manage this conflict of interest when recruiting Ms. Hawkins to the position of division manager, and failed to declare and manage his conflict of interest in relation to his involvement in seeking approval from the head of the state service for Ms. Hawkins to be appointed above the base salary rate for the position of division manager. Later on, when he transferred Ms. Hawkins' substantive position and task from division manager to exclusive manager without the necessary selection process or approval from the head of the state service, offered commitments to Ms. Hawkins beyond those that she was entitled to. As for Ms. Hawkins, she was legitimately required to act in the position of exclusive manager. Then we will turn to the second issue. Before that, I want to talk about a research into the employment relationship, which has drawn attention to relations in the workplace oriented toward the economic exchange of pay for work. In the research, it illustrates in the capitalist labor market, people sell their labor and seek to maximize their pay. To the employer, pay is the cost that reduces profit and therefore needs to be minimized. So when Mr. Conway improperly facilitated the provision of incentive payment to Lori Hawkins in excess of the entitlements, he broke the rule. He facilitated the payment of Ms. Hawkins' rental accommodation beyond her entitlements under the State Service Regulation 2011, or her instrument of appointment, and he did not have the appropriate authority as CEO of TASTAFE to facilitate incentive payment to Ms. Hawkins and commit to an additional set of payment to Ms. Hawkins. As for Ms. Hawkins, she illegally received salary increase of $55,000 in her first 12 months in the role and received an incentive payment scheme worth about $30,000 in benefits. And payments for regular flights from Hobart and Adelaide to visit her family, payment of rental accommodation in Hobart, and $6,000 bonus on each anniversary of Ms. Hawkins' appointment. And the third issue is Ms. Hawkins misused her rights. She used her Tasmanian government cards for entertainment expense without period approval from the Secretary of the Department of Treasury and Finance. Then we will turn to the conclusion. The key issue reflected from Ms. Hawkins' case is the favoritism in relation to the recruitment and improperly facilitated the provision of incentive payment and misuse of the right. In a nutshell, human resource management comprises a set of policies designed to maximize organizations' integration, employee commitment, flexibility, and quality of work. If the TASTAFE cannot uphold a fair recruitment environment, the employee, such as Lori Hawkins' case, will not play any important role in doing research and teaching. They have to consider whether this will benefit them most, which means that instead of throwing themselves into doing research, teaching, improving their professional skills, They are considering keeping their jobs, getting promotion, enjoying extra bonus, achieving succeed by the favoritism from their leaders. This is a dereliction of duty in human resource management, and the failure to properly arrange personnel promotions will affect the good reputation and operation of whole organization. That's our presentation. Thank you. And this is the reference. That's all. Thank you.